number 17, Cincinnati from the Prudential Center here in Newark. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. John Shelby, Fran Fraschilla. Hope you're doing well. The Families of Freedom Scholarship Fund, that is what this is all about. The proceeds from today go to that fund. Children who have lost parents or have had parents permanently disabled from September 11th, this goes to help their educational fund. It's a great cause.
It's a great cause, and yesterday afternoon, the University of Florida basketball team was at the 9/11 Memorial Museum. Very moving, John. And now they're ready to play basketball against a good team. Both teams in similar situations. For Florida, they've had a tough week. 3 losses starting with Duke. They got hammered at home by in-state rival Florida State. And then a shocking upset on Wednesday night against Loyola of Chicago. So they got to get their act together.
Yeah, the Gators have struggled shooting the ball. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, their last matchup was their rivalry game as they went up against Xavier, and they got thumped 89-76, and Xavier really shot it well against them.
Well, the home team usually wins that rivalry game, but that game was lopsided, so both teams need a little confidence coming out of this game, and only one of them is going to get it, by the way.
Indeed. So for Florida, it's 3 straight losses ready to go. Doug Schaus to toss it in the air, as it'll be Stone for Florida, Washington for Cincinnati, and the Bearcats control.
Simple offensive sets for Cincinnati, like to post the ball.
Trying to feed down low, deflected. Don Daly says it belongs to the Gators.
And Nick Cronin going right into Kyle Washington, who went 0 for 4 in that Xavier game, so trying to get him going over there.
And Mick Cronin is very open about the fact, says when he plays well, we usually win. There's more consistency from the guys like Evans, Jennifer, and Clark. They need Washington to play well. Pressure here on Chiozza. Gets it into the front court. It's a Florida team averaging a shade over 90 points a game. That's despite struggling their last 2.
Exactly, and one of the big issues has been taking tough shots, hand and face type shots, and Cincinnati will challenge a lot of shots today.
Feed inside, Stone, and has it swatted away, and they're going to say shot clock violation. So a good defensive possession for Cincinnati, and that's really where Mick Cronin needs his team to be better than last week.
Yes, and as a coach, I used to love the sound of the 35 when I coached second shot clock horn, because it meant your team was locked in for a long period of time. Good start for Cincinnati right there.
Jennifer handling. Justin Jennifer, one of their point guards. Washington, there's a double team. And they're going to get a foul actually on Washington, and that'll be his first.
What he did, John, is he cleared out to the Adam apple of the defender. And I think it was Don Daly had a good look at it.
Mike White, of course, in his 3rd season as the head coach for the Gators, playing career, played at Ole Miss.
Very good 4-year starter for Ole Miss. Took him to the NCAA tournament.
Kulachov dumps off to Stone, and Stone gets fouled.
This is an interesting lineup for Florida, and Cincinnati on the offensive end has not exploited it yet. This is a small team out there, essentially with 4 guards and a what I would call stretch 4-man in Stone. They all shoot the 3. They spread the floor, and they force you to guard all 50 feet sideline to sideline.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of size, and just put this into perspective for a second. Stone, the guy at the line, is the only forward on the roster who had played previous minutes with the Gators. So up front, they did not have a ton of experience, at least not in a Florida uni coming in. Early 2-0 lead for the Gators. John Shelby, Fran Fraschilla with you here from the Prudential Center in Newark. Washington, soft touch, and the NC State transfer at the bucket.
They were bound and determined to get him the ball. It's gone inside to him 3 straight times, and That time, tough shot by Kyle Washington, and he's got to feel good about that.
Jalen Hudson, the Virginia Tech transfer, handling, and they get him for the travel.
Let's watch now. The double doesn't come quite as quickly, and he does a nice job of turning opposite. He's been turning middle because he's a lefty. And that time he turned to the baseline, shot it with his left hand, and made it.
He was good for him last year. Almost 13 points a game, just a shade under 7 rebounds a game. Those numbers are way down so far at 9 and 5. Or at least down a bit.
I think part of that, John, is they have much more offensive balance this year.
Washington launches and hits. He can't do that.
Yes. Now this is a Cincinnati team that is putting more points on the board than any time in Mick Cronin's career there.
Shows off the handoff. Kulachov lifts it up, won't go. And a rebound pulled down by Clark. Outstanding rebounder, Gary Clark.
Well, so far, outstanding half-court defense by Cincinnati. Nothing easy, everything challenged, and even the driving lanes closing up quickly.
Evans. Cumberland fights for the rebound, and he gets it. Kicks to Jennifer. Cumberland fires. Got it. Jaron Cumberland.
Right now, John, this first 3 minutes has been about toughness on both ends, and even that offensive rebound, that was a 50-50 ball that Florida did not come up with. If it's going to be about toughness, Cincinnati's going to win this game.
Kayvon Allen handling. And Hudson. Washington comes away with it. Travel and a turnover.
Take a look now. Watch this. This is a 50-50 ball right there. And you see Cumberland comes up with it and then back out, and he gets rewarded. The sophomore from Wilmington, Ohio. Best athlete that I remember coming out of Wilmington was a guy named Greg Nard, who was an outstanding high school football and basketball star. Later played for Lefty Driesell at Maryland.
Who's the guy Florida needs to get going here?
You know, they need to just they need to be on the attack. That's what they need to do, John. They have been very soft on drives and even coming off ball screens. They've been they haven't played with a lot of intensity on the offensive end.
Clark almost threw it away. Jennifer. A good look at it. There's Clark. Offensive rebound and the putback.
That's toughness right there. Now it's a small lineup, but now you got Hayes out there who can throw his weight around, but to this point in the game, it's been Cincinnati dominating, at least in a test of wills. See, even when you open the floor and drive it and crash the glass, you've got to go hard. It's an amazing transformation Florida's made from being what many thought was a Final Four contender about 10 days ago to right now kind of doubting themselves and maybe not playing with as much cohesion as they did early in the year.
Kickball in our first timeout. Well, the Bearcats aggressive on the boards. Jennifer the miss, but Gary Clark there to clean it up and the putback. And Cincinnati leads early on. A great matchup next Sunday afternoon on ESPN. Roy Williams and the 11th ranked Tar Heels. They're in Knoxville to take on Rick Barnes, number 24 Tennessee Vols. 3 p.m. next Sunday, ESPN and the ESPN app. Rick Barnes gotten things going there at Tennessee, huh?
Yeah, lots of athletes, lots of depth, lots of toughness, and Grant Williams, the sophomore from Charlotte, undersized. chose Tennessee over Yale, is off to a great start to his career. Admiral Schofield, I love that name. That's
Absolutely.
It's another Tennessee bomb. Rick Barnes has got it figured out down there. Now maybe Jeremy Pruitt can as well.
And we welcome everybody who is getting a chance to watch Oklahoma State and Wichita State. John Chambie, Fran Fraschilla. Welcome inside the Prudential Center. Florida and Cincinnati just getting started. It's the Never Forget Tribute Classic here. And again, the proceeds from today and overall, it's the Families of Freedom Scholarship Fund. The fund started basically within a week of the September 11th attacks, and it provides educational assistance to children of those killed or disabled in September 11th attacks. Already it's provided $137 million to more than 3,100 recipients. An amazing cause.
Yep, and the Florida Gators visited the 9/11 Memorial Museum yesterday. I got a chance to go with them, John, and you talk about an amazing, moving, life-changing experience.
It's powerful.
Yeah, still get chills. I got chills a number of times today talking to some of the Florida people about their trip. And I would encourage anybody to get down there. It only takes about an hour to go through the whole museum, but says a lot about our history and our toughness and resolve as a country.
Washington blocks Kulichov.
Well, if you've just joined us, it's all about toughness. And to this point, Cincinnati, coming off that loss to Xavier, an embarrassing loss, is dominating this game.
There's a block inside. Clark gets it back and puts it in. And that will not count. The Gators come into this game. They've lost 3 straight. Remember, Mike White's team was in a great spot against Duke, but in the second half outscored 30-10 the last 9:54. And then back-to-back non-conference home losses, FSU and Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, and you know, the Florida State game I watched start to finish, that was about toughness. Leonard Hamilton's team, they don't have the profile this year they did a year ago, but take a look right here. Watch this now. You can't do that. Ball's deflected, and Gary Clark's got to leave it alone because he's out of bounds. The ball's out of bounds. And seniors should know better. Now, big thing for Florida has been shot selection. Not been good.
Hayes being harassed as Chioza handle. Shot clock under 10. A little hesitation. Kick out here. Allen. And that's way off the mark, but a good rebound and a putback. Igor Kulichov, the transfer from Rice, who started his career at Arizona State.
Great story today. When he went to transfer, Mike White called him and he started telling him what a good situation that Florida would be. And Igor said, "Coach, have you ever seen me play?" And Mike said, not really. He goes, "Well, why don't you go watch some tape of me, call me back, and tell me how you think I fit in." Michael White was at the Beach House, got on Synergy.
There he is again.
And he watched some tape, called him back and said, "Hey, here's what I think you do really well. Here's what I think we could help you with. And here's why we want you," and obviously it worked out well.
But he was initially a little worried when Kulichov said, "Have you seen me play?" And he said no. And there he is, 3 straight buckets. Because I don't know that every kid would ask that question. And Mike White was honest to us, saying once he said that and I had to tell him no, he said, "I thought I had blown it."
Exactly.
But I hadn't.
Well, I would say so far that decision to come to Florida has worked out pretty well for both parties.
Feed inside, and it goes off of Washington. And here's Igor.
Yep, young man. He was born in Russia, John, but he's really an Israeli. Played on the Israeli national team. He'll be a staple of their program going forward. But what he is at 6'5", he's a great shooter, but he's also got the ability to dribble it, get into the lane, and a very smart player.
Tied at 10. Tossed inside. Hayes being harassed. Has it stripped away as Cumberland came up with it. Now it's Jennifer. Jacob Evans handling. He had a season high 23 in all 40 minutes against Xavier.
No, this is a minor thing, but all of a sudden it looks like Florida playing with a little bit more confidence.
Kulichov's got the Gators back in it. We're tied at 10. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And in part by Audi. Cincinnati tied at 10. We mentioned the rivalry game as Xavier beat Cincinnati. Last Saturday, Mick Cronin took issue with one of Xavier's players after the game.
Yeah, I've never had a kid tell me to F off 3 times before. And during the game and after the game. You know who it was. Same guy it always is every game. 15 years I've been a head coach. Okay, 5 years with Hugs, 2 with Coach Pitino. I've never seen anything like it. And if he was playing for me, he wouldn't play. He wouldn't play for me.
There are 2 sides to the story. There was a reason that their coach was issued a technical in the game. There's a reason for that. I know that reason because the official told me what happened. So I'm not going to have the narrative be anything other than us playing better than Cincinnati and beating Cincinnati today.
Go ahead, Fran Fraschilla.
Mick Cronin is lying. He would love to have JP McCure on his team. Now, do you have to calm him down some? Does he go over the line? Yes, he does. But I love this. There was no fight. It's a rivalry game, baby. And that is one of the great rivalries in basketball. They had the lousy incident 6 years ago with the brawl.
Yes.
They've cleaned that up. Last week, Cincinnati got their butt kicked, and that'll make their team better. Next year, Xavier goes to the brand new Fifth Third Arena. I think that's what it's going to be called. And we'll see it again. It is a great rivalry. That's what happens in rivalry games. Inside
is Hayes not able to convert. And I get you, and he is intense. And look, they've been in the NCAA tournament 7 straight years. Mick Cronin has been brilliant. Somebody's got to be the adult, though. When you're talking about coaches and kids, somebody has to be the adult. And to me, in that spot, as great as much as you love the intensity,
yes,
it can't be the coach doing that.
What he should have done, Mick, and he may have done it, is go to the official during the game and say, listen, profanity is a unsportsmanlike technical foul. You need to watch this. I'm getting tired of this.
Yes.
Point it out to the official. Then it's up to the officials to, clean that mess up. But after the game, it just sounded like sour grapes because they got hammered.
Right.
And, there's no doubt Mick's a great coach, and he's done, an incredible job. But he was frustrated.
Yep.
And then Chris Mack got frustrated. But I'll take J.P. McCure right now. You know what you do? I'd rather have a guy with a pulse rate.
Yeah, I get you.
And you got to calm down than a guy you're checking for the pulse rate.
Get the foul there on Kayvon Allen. And that is his first.
The other thing about the loss, John, as it applies to this game is, the psychology of the schedule. You're rolling along. Everybody's telling you you're great. Everybody's telling people, these Gator players, you're great. We're going to win. We're going to the Final Four. Cincinnati, best offensive team in Mick Cronin's career, and then all of a sudden the wheels come off.
Yeah.
How do you respond? This is part of dealing with adversity.
He was very outspoken about how poorly they played defensively. He really felt like that was one of the worst defensive games that he's seen the Bearcats play at any point during his time. Weaving inside, Evans not able to hit, and eventually ripped away, and Stone ends up getting fouled.
And I pointed this out about a minute ago, John, because we saw a very soft start by the Florida Gators, but all of a sudden, now we're seeing some toughness on those 50-50 balls. And that's something that has been missing over the last couple games.
There's that pulse you're talking about, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Chioza almost lost the handle. Gives off to Ballard. And a foul on Cincinnati. Chioza, Hudson, both those guys really quick and big-time scores. Chioza, a guy, obviously, that runs their offense. assist the turnover coming in, 49-19. Done a really nice job, and he shoots it pretty well.
He's shooting it better than ever. I'll tell you about Hudson now. The only danger point for Hudson is that he made all those threes, 8 of them against Duke. If you take away the Duke game, he really has not shot the ball from deep, at the same consistency.
Cumberland, that's off the mark. I think they get a foul on Nasir Brooks.
And that's 2 quick ones because he committed that foul in the previous play. And that's a little bit more of what we've been talking about that's been missing this last few days. And in all honesty, John, passing and shooting and ball handling are all skills you have to work on. You really don't have to work on toughness. You can do dive on the floor drills, but toughness comes from in here.
Yep.
You just got to decide, we're not going to lose to Loyola Chicago anymore. We're going to come in here, we're going to battle these guys, tooth and nail. And that's what we've seen from Florida the last couple minutes, but you can't do that.
There's Chioza, quick hands. That one batted up ahead, and it'll be Florida basketball. Doug Shout and Daly looking at each other. What a sequence.
Now, there's some good hustle here, but more sloppy play.
I wasn't entirely sure that went out off of Cincinnati.
I agree, and it's not reviewable. I thought Chioza just threw the ball away. Under 2 minutes, certainly, in the game it's reviewable. See, can you get...
There's Hudson, way off the mark. Rebound Evans.
That's the shot, John, that he's been taking. Been making them early, not as much late. I'd like to see them attack the paint out instead of just always shooting those threes.
Washington gets a little out of control. Chioza up ahead. And that 3 will go. Keith Stone.
Excellent rhythm, wide open, great delivery by Chioza. And Stone was able to catch his breath and tee it up.
A 13-2 Florida run.
Walk.
And a travel.
You know what I love about this? Perfect pass. Watch this. He zipped it right into the shooting pocket. Nobody around. Watch this. Boom! Right there. Right on the line. Really well done by Chris Chioza, who came in with Billy Donovan, played his freshman year for Billy Donovan, and then these last 3 with a guy in Mike White that is almost a clone of a young Billy Donovan, which is why he's been so popular, I think, in Gainesville.
Hudson steps to the side, knocks it down. Had that huge game where he knocked down 35 against Gonzaga.
Yeah, and that was a great shot fake because he didn't take it to the 2-point line. He stayed on the 3-point line.
How about that move? And one. Kane Broome, the Sacred Heart transfer. Kind of a scoring point guard is what he gives them.
Yes, and you know what? He started as a starter early in the year. I don't think he played great. He wasn't sure when to pass, when to score. And what I like about him coming off the bench now, he comes off as instant offense, which is something, as you pointed out, he did with great regularity in the Northeast Conference.
Yeah, he was the player of the year in the Northeast Conference for the 2015-16 season. There's Clark, offensive rebound, rejected, puts it back, can't finish. Clark has it again and kicks out.
That's what we're talking about.
Possession arrow, and it belongs to Florida.
That's what we're talking about, John. When you are on a schneid like both teams are, who's going to be tougher?
I thought Jennifer was maybe in a little bit of a hurry there to get it right back after they got the ball back out.
Now, that hustle play, that's not skill.
Yep.
That's just deciding that you want the ball more than the other guy.
High arcing shot from Stone. Put back wouldn't go for Hayes. Wow, they get a foul on Eliel Soseme. Well, here at the Never Forget Tribute Classic, a look at the Freedom Tower. Florida and Cincinnati locking up in a good one. How about that? All right, a reminder, tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, ESPN, the 83rd Annual Heisman Trophy presentation from New York City. Is it going to be Lamar Jackson, Bryce Love, or Baker Mayfield? Find out. 8 Eastern coming up tonight.
We sat with tonight's Heisman Trophy winner.
That's who it's going to be?
I think so.
All right.
And I remember, John, we were doing the Wisconsin game Sunday afternoon after the Sooners clinched the Big 12 title.
Yep.
And I remember you whispering into Baker Mayfield's ear, I think you're going to win the Heisman someday. I remember that. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
You said, I got a feeling.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Might be a little while.
Might take you a year, but you'll be there 3 times. How about that? 3-time finalist.
Pretty amazing. And he was a guy, did he start somewhere else?
Oh, yeah. He was
Started
a walk-on at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I saw the first game he ever played, or at least I think it was the first game, when he played at SMU as a Texas Tech walk-on starter. Think about it. They had Davis Webb, now with the Giants, Pat Mahomes, Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
What a career. He's kind of had a couple issues off.
Really?
Yeah, a couple.
I hadn't heard anything
on and off
about
the
that.
field. But
like waving at people, right? No? What?
He's had, flag plantings.
Yes, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
But again.
Well, he's shy.
Yeah, but listen, this is like J.P. McCure. Would you rather calm down Baker Mayfield or try to get somebody else to play with more intensity?
I get you.
See?
How about the Gators? Up by 6 right now.
There was a stretch where we started to see them compete.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done here.
Bearcats, 10 turnovers in this game. They average just about 13. So the Florida defense has factored in.
Oh, that's an offensive foul.
Doug Schaus right on that call against Justin Jennifer. And that's pretty good work by Keith Stone moving his feet like
Absolutely,
that.
Yep. And if you're a point guard in pick and roll, you must make sure you get by that big defender, especially because it's a big guy. Got to go around him or split him.
Here at the Never Forget Tribute Classic, John Shelby and Fran Fraschilla.
First thing I said to Michael White at the 9/11 Memorial yesterday, we were inside the building, I said, this makes 3 losses in a row look pretty minor. And he understood. Been a tough week for them, but it's only basketball.
Good move as Hudson able to get inside and put it home.
What I love about that, John, is don't just rely on that 3-point shooting. And that's what we talk about, playing the game from the inside out.
Clark looking for some help. And off the mark with that jumper is Kane Broom. Out of bounds, and it belongs to Florida. Man, this thing is taking a turn, huh?
Well, what's interesting is we talk about those great offensive numbers of Cincinnati, but prior to Xavier, they really hadn't been challenged. Now it looks like they want to go a little zone here.
Jalen Hudson, by the way, has scored the last 7 Florida points.
A lot of switching.
Kulachov looking for some help. Shot clock is winding down. Got to do something here. Stone hoists in and out, and a fight for the loose ball. Eventually it ends up with Cincinnati.
Florida's done a good job of keeping that ball from getting deep in the lane.
Cumberland inside, uses the window.
Yeah, the sophomore is their best scorer. He can knock down shots from the perimeter. That time he had a little crease.
Well, you give him that space. Kulachev's not a big-time athletic type player, but he is smart, gets to space, and can score.
Well, he can score in bunches, can he?
Grad transfer from Rice.
That's a walk again.
Well, they got the foul that time on Stone, and that'll be his first.
I never was a good referee when I was coaching.
But
they disagreed with me a lot.
Really?
Yeah, they did.
That shocks me.
Yeah, I thought I thought I knew the officiating better than they did.
Didn't you go to officials camp school, right?
Big 12 officials camp about 5-6 years ago.
Nice look inside, and the throw down there for Kyle Washington.
And he just told Cumberland, just keep getting it to me. Feed me.
Hudson had it knocked away. Cumberland, ill-advised pass, but Florida deflected it, and it'll stay with Cincinnati.
Watch how much space he has. Remember how crowded it's been in there, but that's too easy. He had the switch and the mismatch, and big fella going to work. As you mentioned, former NC State player, transferred. Cincinnati recruited him very hard out of high school.
Okay.
And when he was going to transfer a second time, Mick Cronin called his number and he wouldn't pick up the phone. And Mick Cronin left a message that said, I'm recruiting you harder than anybody. I'm coming after you. And the kid loved his tenacity, and he wound up back on the UC campus.
4-point deficit for Cincinnati, but an and one spot here.
And we know Juwan, we know Evans is he's one of the best wing players in the American Conference. Jacob Evans out of Baton Rouge. It's going to be a good league. Wichita State.
Indeed.
Yep. SMU just went out to California this week and won. And UCF may get B.J. Taylor back.
We talked about, we got a chance to see UCF a lot early. Shot left hand, wouldn't quite go. Cincinnati get tied with a three. Washington, that was a little strong. A takeaway, and Cincinnati back the other way. Under 4 to go here in the first half. John Shelby, Fran Fraschillo. And Florida got off to a rough start, but the Gators now leading it by 3. Florida's lost 3 straight, including 2 at home this week. Cincinnati trying to bounce back from the loss to Xavier last Saturday. And Broom able to knock it down. An 8-0 Cincinnati run, and we're tied at 24.
Yeah, you don't want to give Kane Broom that much room. He just raised up, shot a rhythm 3. Kind of interesting. Both teams hovering in the mid 80s or 90, right, John? And we got 24 all. Why? Both teams have come today locked in to play defense. That's what you do when you run a Schneid.
Shields are wide open, and Chris buries it. The senior from Memphis.
Yeah, he had a great last 6 weeks of last season that culminated in that buzzer beater to beat Wisconsin in the Sweet 16 right across the river in our hometown, Madison Square Garden, New York.
Kentucky had a game there earlier today. They beat Monmouth.
Yep. Anybody's stock rise or fall in Kentucky today?
Kulachov knocks it down. And now it's 30-24. Well, I know that over in that game, I know Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman were there, and I know the Yankees stock is up thanks to Giancarlo Stanton at the moment. So it's Florida right now. They're up by 6. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. All right, guys, look forward to that here at the Prudential Center, the Never Forget Tribute Classic. And, of course, the proceeds of this one support the Families of Freedom Scholarship Fund. It helps provide educational assistance to children of those lost or permanently disabled in the September 11th attacks. And yesterday, Florida visiting the September 11th Museum. It's about 110,000 square feet, located within the heart of the original World Trade Site. And, Fran, you get a chance to be there with them.
Yeah, I got goosebumps now, John. It's anybody who's grown up in this metropolitan area by 1 or 2 or 3 degrees of separation has been affected by what happened at 9/11. And a lot of these players, think about it, what is it, 16 years ago? Am I right? 2001?
Yep.
These kids were 4, 5, 6 years old, and to teach them a little bit about the history of what happened there was just incredible, and puts basketball and sports in perspective, because we live in the playground of life. But what a wonderful opportunity to see the emotion of what that museum represented and represents today.
And a travel, there's a turnover. That's the 12th turnover on Cincinnati. And again, as we mentioned, they average 12.9, so basically 1 away from what they average.
And again, if you're honest, they really haven't played, the level of competition other than Xavier that would warrant you taking the offensive numbers seriously just yet. Give me a month and I'll tell you whether they're improved offensively.
Yep. This is Kane Broom handling. Gives off to Clark. Clark back to him at the bucket. And 1. Well, that was easy.
That way, not only easy, but he struggled to be a playmaking point guard to start the year. Now, when he comes off the bench, his job is to get buckets. And this is what he did at Sacred Heart. And I think that's a great role for him with this team.
I know it's not always the same. It's a case-by-case situation. But how much is moving from, the NEC to the American? How big a jump in level is that?
Well, there is a jump, but I'll tell you what matters. When you're at the NEC and you're a prolific scorer, you can waste possessions. Like, you can take bad shots because you're going to still end up with 25. In these kind of games against high-level competition in the American and the conference, you can't afford to let Kane Broom go crazy.
Beautiful move. Chioza with the jab step, and then the step back, cleared space, and buried a 3.
He shared a lot of the ball handling responsibilities with Casey Hill, Devon Allen. Chris Chioza has gotten better every year. He's a highly decorated high school point guard out of Memphis.
Double team comes. Clark goes opposite. Feed inside, and that shot wouldn't go from Trayvon Scott. Check out that last move.
Yeah, watch the footwork. This is great footwork. Watch this step back. Look at that. Through the leg, step back. That's something you practice. That's something you work on, especially if you're a smaller guard that needs to create separation. That's a big thing, John. Create separation from the defender.
6-point lead, 30-second timeout here in Jersey. All right, fans, Holiday Hoops are back. We got a great matchup next Sunday. That's not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow on ESPN. Roy Williams and 11th-ranked Tar Heels taking on Rick Barnes, number 24, Tennessee Vols, 3 Eastern next Sunday on ESPN and the ESPN app.
And I'll see the next night, Rick Barnes' old team, Texas Longhorns, take on Tennessee State Tigers.
Chioza on the move. And fouled shooting a 3 right there was DeAndre Ballard.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this young guy out of Atlanta. Think about this, averaging 8 points a game in only 15 minutes of action. Big, strong guard. He's had some good offensive performances already. He has got a great work ethic, John. They say he lives in the gym.
Well, Mike White said he's the hardest worker on his own of anyone he's ever coached. Talked about him getting up at 4, 5 in the morning to get shots up, get into the gym.
And remember about this Gator team, there's 3 guys on their bench in sweatsuits that all are 6'9" or bigger that are not playing. There you see big Isaiah Stokes, Chase Johnson next to him, and then Big John.
Yeah, Bruno's behind.
Yeah.
Couldn't see him behind Johnson there. And there they are.
That's 3 big dudes. Now, Chase Johnson's got to fill out a little bit, but he's a terrific young talent out of Ripley, West Virginia, right in the middle.
So Cincinnati holding for the last shot. 8-point game. And Broom. Oh my goodness. Had too much space and was easily able to lay it in. Now Chioza heaves it. And the first half comes to a conclusion with the Gators leading by 6. And defense and offense, Franny, that's been the story. 17 of the 34 points.
It's
turnover.
Come at a perfect time. If you're not making threes, get some easy ones. Seth Greenberg knows that.
Indeed. Land Rover halftime report. Kevin, Seth, and Jay. Go back to the Never Forget Tribute Classic, presented by Geico. And our game features 5th-ranked Florida, number 17, Cincinnati. Right now at the break, it's the Gators leading it by 6. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. John Chambee, Fran Fraschilla here in New Jersey from the crew. And, well, Florida, you kept emphasizing toughness, Fran Fraschilla. Early on, they got off to a sluggish start, but then they showed that toughness and really worked out defensively against Cincinnati. And take a look at what we saw.
Yes, exactly. 13 Cincinnati turnovers. Only 3 assists for the Bearcats. And I did think that there was renewed effort and intensity from the Gators. And guess what, John? They got 34 points. 17 have come off those turnovers. And good ball movement, too. Here's what I like about Florida offensively. They average 25 threes a game. They've been jacking them up with regularity lately, not going in. They did not settle. They attacked more, got to the basket, and trust me, if you attack on offense from the paint out, you will get easier jump shots.
And here's some of the advantages tonight. +8 points off turnovers, +5 turnovers forced, and pluses in both free throws made and fast break points. Cincinnati basketball to start as Gary Clark gets ready to send it in for the Bearcats. We get ready for our second 20 minutes. And Cincinnati basketball, Justin Jennifer control. What do you want to see from Cincinnati on the offensive end?
Don't turn it over and recognize where the pressure's coming from. They double out of the post, move the ball, and get good looks.
Kulichev. And they get the foul. That was a little bit of a late whistle. Igor Kulichev. Mentioned the Rice transfer. He had 34 points in his Florida debut against Gardner-Webb.
And that might have been the worst thing that happened for this team, and here's why. You got a guy that shows up during the summer, a graduate transfer. You got all these other guys that came back that went to the Elite Eight thinking it's my turn. And then a guy like Hudson explodes against Gonzaga.
Right.
This guy explodes early. And let me tell you what happens. Jealousy.
Yeah.
And I think a little of that creeped into this Florida team.
Looks like you and I, we had a couple of games in Orlando. I was broadcasting especially well. I probably got a little too aggressive.
Yeah, and I was, I wasn't getting any touches.
Feed inside, loose ball. There's Clark, the putback. That's what he does. He's so good, that kind of nose for the basketball rebound.
Exactly, John. And Cincinnati as a team has to reestablish that toughness inside on both backboards, not turn it over. That's toughness, too.
The lead is 8. Chioza picked up his dribble and kicks out now to Allen. Allen gets up ahead of steam, and nope, offensive foul. And that'll be the second on Allen.
And that's another example of this is Cincinnati toughness. Cumberland's established, 2 feet on the ground before Allen leaves his feet. And this is what Mick Cronin needs to see.
But I will say that it emphasizes a point you made about Florida offensively. Not that Mike White's going to be happy with an offensive foul, but they are looking to attack. They're not just looking to hoist up threes.
Yes, no question. Now it's a matter of being judicious on your drives.
Feed inside and a travel. Trey Scott. So a turnover there, and that is number 14. Feed inside. Stone missed the layup. Clark the board. Here comes Jennifer and the Bearcats.
Good job in transition by Florida. All 5 white jerseys back inside the three-point line. I'm going to re-emphasize this again, John. Both of these teams have had a tough week. And one of these teams is going to be very sad leaving Newark, New Jersey. One team's either going to have a 4-game losing streak or another is going to have 2. And that's why you're going to see, the next 18 minutes, we're going to see hand-to-hand combat.
Clark looking for help. Jennifer fires off the mark. Fight for that loose ball. Guess who? Clark the rebound. His 10th rebound of the game.
And that was just effort. Terrific job of staying vertical.
Cumberland got it. That's a triple. Jaron Cumberland, the sophomore from Ohio, he had a really good freshman year, and it's continued over.
He's probably the best scorer on that team. Now let's watch Cincinnati basketball right here. This is Gary Clark. See that? Now Kulichev's backing into him, but watch this. Too much space. Hands down. I don't want to say to Mark, hand down, man down, but
I get it.
Mark Jackson is absolutely right there. Jalen Hudson is just wasting time there.
Yeah. Inside, there's Kulichev with that bucket.
He just left his man open.
He rattled in and out, and there's Clark. Oh, and a point-blank look at it. And then Stone just ripped it away.
Wow. Looks like Marcus Haynes right there.
That one flipped up by Evans. He couldn't finish.
What a great job Mick Cronin's done when you think about 7 years. Just it's not easy replacing a legend, right? We know that. And Bob Huggins was a legend in Cincinnati. Andy Kennedy took over for the year. And Mick Cronin inherited a program that had been decimated by guys leaving, all the stuff surrounding Huggs, and just an amazing run.
7 straight NCAA tournaments. It's his 12th year. And guy who came from Murray State, that's where I first encountered him, but he is intense, hard worker, and a guy who's recruited tough-minded kids. I think recruited a lot of the same type of kids Bob Huggins recruits at West Virginia, I'd say.
I would say absolutely. And we saw that today at practice. You know, he was on guys about playing hard.
Jumper wouldn't go that time from Ballard.
And they've pretty much gone to 7 straight tournaments based on toughness. Watch the help now. Let's see where the help comes from.
Evans jumper way off the mark. Chiozza on the go. Chiozza, look at that Euro step. And that basket will count. Wow.
That was ballet right there.
You are not kidding.
That was, take a look at this. You talk about footwork. First of all, he's one of the fastest players in the country. That's a heck of a move without traveling. Wow. If I knew a ballet star, I would mention their name, but I don't. Sorry. Nureyev?
I mean, I think you could have just gone with...
I don't know any. Watch this. This is coming right at you. 1, 2, laid in. He definitely has the burners.
Yeah, that was spectacular from Chris Chiozza. So here at the line, it's Evans, Florida by 5. Well, look at the trio of Kulichev, Hudson, and Chiozza. It made 14 shots between the three of them, and accounting for 33 of their 40 points.
Well, I'm watching these two teams, and honestly, I don't see an NBA player out here. And that's, you know, and my point is, what does that mean? Well, it means that who cares about who scores? You know, win. Just win.
Room up ahead. Gets it to go.
I'll tell you what, I love him in the role he's got right now. He can come off the bench with freedom, microwave it a little bit. Bad shot here and there is not going to bother Mick Cronin as much. Because early in games, John, when he starts, he's got to be the guy that gets everybody else the ball.
Shot short. And a foul inside on Cincinnati. And they get that one on Evans. It's a good one. 2-point game here at the Prudential Center. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The September 11th Memorial opened on the 10th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. 2,983 names engraved on the memorial. 2 reflecting pools, each about an acre in size, and they're set in the footprints of the Twin Towers, as well 30 waterfalls cascade down all sides. And yesterday, as we mentioned, the Florida Gators team and Fran Fraschilla got a chance to go down and visit the September 11th Memorial. And you get a chance to spend some time with Mike White and the Gators. Something odd happened, though, was you got a chance to go into the museum. They show footage of basically everyone that perished in the attacks, and you're in there, and like the first person you saw.
Yeah, I told Mike White about Jimmy Quinn, who was our manager at Manhattan College, and we lost him in one of the buildings. He's one of those unfortunate people that worked at Cantor Fitzgerald. Jimmy's in the middle, brother Joe on the left, Michael on the right, and so I told Michael about 30 minutes before, and he looked up at the wall as they were putting the bios up there. They go one by one, John, and he said, Manhattan College, is that your guy? And of 3,000 people about who were lost in the towers.
That's who you saw almost immediately.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, I was excited about doing this game just because we'd get a chance to talk about Jimmy. He grew up in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. He came to Manhattan College in part to be part of our basketball program, and then we lost him. And, you know, what was healing for me yesterday was seeing that and going through it, because it brought back a lot of great memories of Jimmy. But the weirdest thing of all was that of all the people that showed up on that wall, Michael White pointed it out to me, and we've been talking about it all day today as well. And
almost as soon as you walked in there, it was the first thing that Mike said to you.
Yeah, and little brother Joe was a West Point point guard and doing some great charity work now, both for Jimmy and the Army, and it's a great family. And we missed Jimmy up at Manhattan College. He was a true Jasper.
And we are here at the Never Forget Tribute Classic. And today's doubleheader is in support of the Families of Freedom Scholarship Fund. It helps to provide educational assistance to the children of those lost or permanently disabled in the September 11th terrorist attacks. And so far, the fund has provided over $137 million to more than 3,100 recipients. A great, great cause.
Yeah, those young people, the children of the victims, they can go to culinary school. They can go to an Ivy League school if they can get in. They can go anywhere and use those funds. But, one of the things that hit me, John, was that a lot of those children who are now grown-ups, they lost their heroes.
Yeah.
They lost moms and dads and brothers and sisters, and those were their heroes, and athletes are heroes, but those first responders and the people that lost their lives, they were heroes too.
During Game 1, they honored some of the families down on the court, and as well some of the members that put together the Families of Freedom Scholarship Fund. So
let's hear for these incredible families.
Yep.
And welcome them right here to the Prudential Center.
Well, we said we'd never forget, and by and large, we haven't forgotten, and that's cool, and that's what's fun about being here with you today. And we get to do what we love.
Yeah, no doubt. Good one here. Two teams in search of a win. Cincy trying to bounce back from the loss to Xavier. 3 in a row Florida's lost. And another turnover for the Bearcats. They average 13 a game, and they're at 16 already.
Bearcats in a little matchup zone right here. Showing the zone, picking up man. Florida's got to see it, make some adjustments. Ball screens help.
Oh, wow. Great defense. They'll go possession arrow.
Think about this. 23 seconds, only 2 players handled the ball in the half court against the matchup zone. And
Kane Broom in this spot. Possession arrow belonged to Florida, but it was Broom right there to contest that.
Lob it.
Feed inside, and Gak get a point-blank look at it and just wasn't able to corral and then put it in.
One thing I like about Cincinnati is they do not take bad shots. They don't have a lot of guys that you think of as go-to scorers, but they do play together and under control.
Clark high off the glass, and Cincinnati with the lead. Last Bearcat lead was 12-10. A 7-0 Cincinnati run.
Got to move that ball versus the zone. It can't just be one guy dribbling.
Gio's off the mark. Rebound, and then it's knocked away. Hudson launches and hits. Big 3, and Florida takes the lead right back.
Now you think about that, that's almost a 5 or 6 point play, because Cincinnati, good stop, and then the ball was tipped from behind. And Hudson has not gotten a lot of easy looks. That was probably one of the easiest ones.
And Broom gets the friendly roll. Kane Broom averaging 10 points a game. Nice drive inside. There's Jalen Hudson right at the basket.
Yeah, way to mix your game up. That's good.
Back the other way, and Evans absorbs the contact and draws the foul. So here's Jacob Evans, the third. He leads them in minutes and is one of their top scorers. He was their top scorer last year. He started every game last year. Again, a junior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
He's that prototypical Cincinnati wing. Tough defender. You really think about it, Cincinnati does not get very many top 50 guys. They get the grinders.
45 apiece. 12 to go.
There's that zone again. Trying to keep Florida away from the basket.
Gack almost had it knocked away. And then Hudson putting it on the floor, and he draws the foul. Our under 12 timeout, and we got ourselves a tie game. 45 apiece. Gators, Bearcats. Well, Holiday Hoops are back. We got a great matchup next Sunday afternoon on ESPN as Roy Williams and the 11th ranked Tar Heels head to Knoxville. They go up against number 24 Tennessee. That'll be at 3 Eastern next Sunday on ESPN. All right, news and notes. I still haven't on the air jabbed Jay Williams about my alma mater, Boston College, knocking off his alma mater.
Yeah, up in Boston today, and that's,
BC knocks off #1 Duke.
you know, I'm not shocked by that because it's a young team and they don't play great defense right now.
Yep.
Jay Will, your guys don't guard anybody.
Texas hires Chris Conte, the TCU AD.
You know, think about this. All the great teams Coach K has had, you get time over 2 or 3 years to develop your defense. And now you got all these freshmen. They don't know how to guard yet. It's going to take 2-3 months.
As big a win as Jim Christian has had. Chioza off the mark. Rebound pulled down there by Evans. Tie ball game.
Unless we go to overtime, I don't think either team's going to get to 90. Both of these teams have been prolific offensively this season, but the sense of urgency has crept in, and the defense has been great.
Kulichov just got down the court a little faster than everybody else.
Yeah, this is just poor transition defense, and Kulichev does a really good job of boxing out, and he leaks out. And this is the kind of what Chris Chioza had his head up the entire way. He knew right there. They threw that ball left-handed too. One of the things a great point guard does, John, is he counts numbers. You get the ball in the backcourt, you immediately look up the floor and say, how many black jerseys are there and how many white jerseys, and that kind of determines what I might be able to create for my team, and that's a great job right there. The senior from Memphis counting those defensive numbers, and they've got to be tied together. His coach, who's an outstanding point guard in his own right, for Rob Evans at Ole Miss, remind him every now and then that he was on the court when Bryce Drew hit the shot for Valpo.
Why would you drop that on him?
I just want him to keep, I just want to make sure he stays humble, which is not a problem. If you know the White family, Dad, Kevin, now the
AD at Duke.
Yep, and Mom, they were track coaches. When Michael was a youngster, traveled around the country. And Dad, one of the great athletic directors in the country.
Allen flips it up and in, plus tax. Kayvon Allen with the bucket.
You see this move, John, more and more. It's a one-handed floater. Watch what he does. He just kind of pushes the ball up there softly, little rotation. And the idea is if it's not going to go straight in, if it hits the rim, it can kiss around and drop it. See how quiet he's been today.
Washington eventually comes up with that loose ball, and now it's Broom handling. Scott kicks out. Cumberland lost the handle. Out of bounds. And it'll stay with Cincinnati.
Mick Cronin is exhorting. That's what he's doing. Not yelling, he's exhorting his team.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Cumberland. And eventually it's Chiozza. Didn't have numbers, and then maybe he'll advise trying to find Hudson.
A great point. That time he counted the numbers and he didn't add it up correctly. Because there was too much traffic in the lane. I thought he was going to do the ballerina move again.
Nice move inside as Evans gets that bucket.
That was a tough shot because the defense was good and the backside challenge was good too.
Allen just inside the three-point line, and a rebound ripped down by Washington. Lob, and they get it to go. Evans got behind the Florida defense.
That's probably one of the few really easy baskets today, although probably was not as easy as it looked. It's a lob from half court. This is good, and what you like about it is watch Cumberland now. And Evans not trying to dunk it, just catch it, lay it in, just get the two.
Really well-placed pass.
And this one by Evans, I mean, that was just well-earned. Good defense all the way.
Evans with 13 points, 10 of them in the second half. 2 points, Cincinnati lead. John Chomby, Fran Priscilla. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday.
10 days ago, these were two of the hottest teams in the country, and now we're going to see desperation creep in.
Chiozza spins and shoots. That didn't get anything, and it's a shot clock violation. 8:12 to go, second half. Cats by 2.
I think, John, the ball's sticking a little too much in terms of Florida. It's too much. Chiozza has to take that shot, but not as much dribble drive, not as much side-to-side movement of the defense. If you don't move the defense, you're going to play 1-on-4, 1-on-5.
Cumberland and one. Jaron Cumberland, what a shot.
Strength and agility. Take a look right here. Good shot fake first. Gets the defense up. Strength and touch. Woo. Good basketball.
Well, Baker Mayfield making his way into PlayStation Theater as we get ready for the Heisman Trophy presentation coming up tonight. And that's top of the hour at 8 Eastern. Mayfield, Jackson, Love, who will it be?
You know, it's likely to be Mayfield, I think. But I got to tell you, hat tip to Bryce Love, the youngster from Stanford who was banged up at the end of the year, John. I was amazed at how they kept him on the field. he would have went well over 2,000 rush yards. But I got a chance to see him at Utah live. I was down on the field. I was out at Jazz training camp. And that guy not only is one of the fastest guys in the country, but toughness, man. He takes a beating. He's like a Timex. Takes a licking and he keeps on ticking.
Wow, there's some good dated stuff right there, Franny.
Yeah, I know.
Goodness.
I noticed you're nice, Shinola.
Kids are sitting there going, time.
I noticed you're nice, Shinola.
I love, yes,
tonight.
yours as well.
Yeah.
Indeed. Cumberland not able to hit. 4-point game.
Cincinnati stayed in that matchup zone, and what it's done is it's stagnated the Florida offense. Good cleanup on the backside by Kulichev.
Igor, 19. And getting it in all the different ways that you see. Good hands there. Shot clock now under 10. Where does Broom go?
Left.
High off the glass. And I think they got Washington fouling Kulichev.
Watch Kulichev on the backside. There's the drive, the dump off behind. Hayes with the finish. That is finished by Kulichev hanging out back there. You said 19, and to me, like he's had a quiet 19.
Yeah.
You know, it's been an efficient 19.
Born in Russia, but as you mentioned, grew up in Israel, went to high school in Florida, started at Arizona State, then to Rice, and now a grad transfer, and knocking down free throws at a high percent.
And he played at Rice for Mike Rhodes, who's now the coach at VCU, who played in the opening game of the Never Forget tribute. Seton Hall knocking off VCU Rams fairly easily.
Seton Hall's pretty good.
Yes, they are.
Cumberland inside, it wouldn't go. And Florida comes away with it, trying to break a 53 all tie.
See, I think you got to get the ball moving. Got to get the ball moving. That's a tough pass. And Kulichev is saying you got to catch that, but I don't think so. He threw that ball too hard at Hayes. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more touches.
Cincinnati has, per usual, kind of that equal opportunity offense. Everybody getting involved. Washington posting hard right now, and they find him. Inside, he gets blocked. And it ends up with Hayes and now Chioza. Stone. Out of bounds. And it belongs to Cincinnati.
That's a shot that they were making early in the year. The quick three in transition, even challenged at times. And Michael White told us today, he said, I don't want my guys to think. I want them to play the way we played early. He felt, John, he was getting into their heads too much about shot selection. But there's a fine line between shots that are low percentage and giving your players confidence.
Well, they've been restrained from 3, 5 for 11. Cumberland, offensive foul. Don Daly on the call, and
Stone might have been sliding a little bit. I do think this. I do think that we've seen from Florida today the kind of toughness that they had to bring to this game to match Cincinnati. And now what you have is a 5-minute ball game. And now it's about who executes and makes some shots.
Yep. Kulichev wide open, but he couldn't knock it down. Out of bounds, and it stays with Florida. But Chioza set Igor Kulichev up for a really good look from 3.
Absolutely. Good screen. Brand new shot clock.
Chiozza, really good look. Finds Ballard underneath and reversed it.
Sneaky. Ballard snuck behind the defense from the right corner and got behind.
Timeout Cincinnati. 6-0 Florida run, and the Gators lead it by 2.
Watch Chiozza. He's going to back in like a postman. And there's a freshman sneaking behind. Ballard. He'll be a star someday, John.
So I don't know why. It's because my brain is odd, but the first thing. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And in part by Infinity. Empower the drive. 2-point game here. The Never Forget Tribute Classic.
I've known Michael White, John, a very long time. Got to know his dad when he was in the athletic director at Arizona State. When I was coaching at New Mexico, Michael White, after a terrific career at Ole Miss that we've already talked about, he played for the New Mexico Slam of the now defunct IBL. He and his Ole Miss teammate Keith Carter, they were great college players. Well, they were living in a hotel, and on Christmas Eve, I said to my wife, I wonder what Michael and Keith are doing. I wonder if they're just locked in the hotel. So I called Mike up and I said, what are you guys doing? He said, Coach, we're just watching TV. I said, get ready. I'm coming to pick you guys up. I got them over to the house. Meg went and bought some gifts, and we actually made ornaments for them.
That is so great.
We put up on a tree, and every single year since, we put Mike and Keith's ornament up on our tree, and I brought it with me today.
That's
okay?
amazing.
And Michael's career in pro basketball lasted another month and a half. He got let go in February. Of course, that was the start of a great
Did
career.
you show him the ornament?
Yeah, I showed him at the shoot-around today. And, you know, my boys were 7 and 4, and they were like in awe that these two pro players were at our house. I didn't want to break it to them that it was the New Mexico Slam and not the Phoenix Suns. But we've remained very friendly and close to Mike and his family through the years. And I know Kevin and Jane are very proud of their boys. Danny's the athletic director
Oh my God!
at UCF.
I love the story that you sent me about and about Kevin finding out about Mike getting the job and having a giant Christmas party. He was about to have all these people coming to his house, and he couldn't tell anyone.
Duke Board of Trustees, who is now the athletic director, and Brian is in the athletic administration at the University of Missouri.
Cumberland step back, off the mark, and a shot clock violation.
Well, we mentioned it, two terrific coaches, and when you have a 4-month season, it's about crisis management. And right now, we've got a 4-minute game, and somebody's going to be very happy leaving the crew. Somebody's going to be very depressed.
Corner three, got it! Jalen Hudson, huge.
And uncontested, John, that's key. It wasn't challenged, and another terrific look by Chiozza. Chiozza's getting to the high paint area, and he's occupying the vision of the Cincinnati defense, and that's a mistake on the part of the Bearcats.
Washington answers, flips it up and in. 1-point game.
Very smooth move. Watch Chiozza now. He's going to act as the post player, getting to the middle, trying to make plays.
Stone lost the handle, gets it back, gets rejected. Corner, Kulichov. And a big rebound inside Kavarius Hayes giving him good minutes.
Watch the penetration by Chiozza. All those black shirts, you got to watch ball and man. And then watch Kyle Washington, deft jump hook. Oh, we got a game down the stretch.
Appreciate it, Kev, tonight. After the fight on ESPN, Bucci and Anderson host Sports Center. They'll have Kenny Atlas's reaction to the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fight. And LeBron and the Cavs looking to bounce back against the Sixers as their 13-game win streak snapped last night. Plus, Mel Kiper Jr., Todd McShay on the risks of drafting Baker Mayfield. Sports Center with the Johns on ESPN and the ESPN app.
How good was Javon Carter in Orlando?
He willed them to win.
That's right. Down 17 to an improved Missouri team in the last 7.5 minutes. Backyard brawl in Pittsburgh. They're renewing that series.
1-point game, under 3 to go. Florida with the lead. Evans, shot clock under 10, lost the handle. Cumberland wide open, way off.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a shot you must knock down if you're Jerron Cumberland. That's the most open he was tonight. That was a breakdown, and Florida got really lucky. Look at Chiozza operate in the middle like a postman.
And there's Kane Broom pulling down the board and then gets fouled. So the transfer from Sacred Heart going all the way to the other end and getting the contact.
When he came by us at midcourt, didn't you feel that he was going to the hoop?
Yes.
You know, he's in a perfect role. He doesn't have to think like you would if you were starting the game as their point guard. He's like a third down back in football. He's like Darren Sproles in his prime. Watch him come by us, okay? You know he's thinking shot right here. No hesitation at all.
You like him better off the bench.
I do, because if you're a scoring guard early in the game with the team they've got, I just think it just takes everybody else out of their game. Allow him to do what he does best, coming off the bench and give you a boost, even if he plays starters minutes.
Feed inside, and then the foul on Hayes. So Kavarius Hayes to the line, not a great free throw shooter.
We talked about Hayes and Stone. If you think about it, John, it's been a lot put on their shoulders because with Igbunu, Johnson, maybe Isaiah Stokes, the freshman, they wouldn't have had to carry the load they've had to carry early in the year. These two guys are good role players. They're not great starter 15-point-a-game guys. They're just good role players. And sometimes when you're asked to do more than your role, it's not what's best for yourself or the team.
Gets them both. That's big. Well, they're hoping Igbunu maybe around February.
Yes.
And Stokes a pretty good candidate to redshirt.
And Johnson as well may be redshirting from what they told us today.
There are the three of them. That trio of injured players right there. Feed into Clark, mismatch with Chiozza on him. Help comes. Oh, they get the foul.
I think that's the right call. Chiozza was very good at digging in. He almost got it the first time. Watch. And I think the second time. See, there. Oh, boy. Yeah. I don't know. I think he got all ball. I think he got all ball. I think what happened was Clark lost it.
Yeah. 92 seconds to go. Clark carries first. Rattles home. Clark in this one with 9 points. In and out, we're tied.
Matchup zone again. Timeout by Mike White.
60 apiece. It's the Never Forget Tribute Classic here at the Prudential Center in New Jersey. We've had 13 ties, 10 lead changes. Biggest lead of the game belonged to Florida at 8. Igor Kulichev has really done the job. Leads all scorers with 21. Chiozza just picked up his 4th foul, by the way.
And Kulichev has been very efficient, and it hasn't been just all the jump shots. He's made a lot of hustle plays today. He's also gotten into the lane, and again, quietly, John, he's been their leading scorer. Very efficient, but I love what Chiozza's done. Jalen Hudson's made some big shots. You see the numbers right there, 17 for Hudson in the flow of the offense. And I think 2 things stand out with Florida today. Not as many challenge shots as in the last couple games, and I think they've shown a lot of toughness today against a team that relies on toughness. And now what you have with 2 teams coming off losses, and Florida 3 of them, is you got a minute 26 of who wants this game.
Yep.
Who's going to make the plays? Who's going to be mentally tough not to make mistakes? Now, Cincinnati's been in that matchup zone. It's really kind of man-to-man. The most effective offense that Florida's had so far is Chiozza with the ball and using his dribble to get to the middle of the lane. And Cincinnati's got to be good at watching both him and their own man, so there's no back cuts.
So just under 90 seconds to go in this one. 60 apiece. Number 5, Florida. Number 17, Cincinnati. John Sciambi, Fran Fraschilla.
And they're in the zone.
Chiozza here going to work against Broom. Inside. Flips it up and in.
Very well executed. It's a matchup zone, so the 4 Gators went opposite of Chiozza, and he had room to drive.
Timeout Cincinnati, 1:01 to go.
Now they've been running Chiozza to the middle of the floor, and this time he was on the right side of the floor. And this is good basketball. See, there's no white shirts around, so the defense sees too much standing around. He just went one-on-one.
Washington didn't get out is the other thing. I think when he's wandering in there, you wonder if they're thinking of him as only a passer in that spot.
If Washington comes over, then Chiozza's smart enough, he's been tonight to dump it off.
Right. So 62-60 our score. Let me ask you this, go back to Cincinnati for a second. So, Mick Cronin calls timeout. Broom has 15. Chiozza's been sensational for Florida, but Cincinnati, with that equal opportunity offense that we talked about, where do you go?
I don't know.
Who do you get the ball to?
You know what? I don't know, because they really haven't had many close games this year like this. Even the Xavier game was a blowout. Broom can score, but do you trust the transfer to go get you a basket? I'd go with the veterans.
Jumper, short, Clark, and it's out of bounds, and it's Florida basketball.
Let's take a look now, because I think Evans thinks he got hit on the hand here. Hand up top, hand is part of the ball.
Yeah,
he got hit. He got hit on the wrist, and that could have been called a foul. Oh, that could have been called a foul, and should have been.
Timeout on the floor. double check to see if that definitely was Florida basketball.
Well, the bad news here for the officials, and this is a good crew, veterans, is they're going to see on the replay not only whether the ball went out of bounds or not, but that they missed the foul call. Now, Cincinnati, they're fine in terms of they don't have to foul. They just need a stop. From that angle, it looks like it's off the black jersey.
Is it off Clark or is it off Kulichov?
You know what a good official would have done in the old days? They see that they missed the foul, give it back to Cincinnati. I'm not advocating that.
Don Daly chatting there with Doug Shouse and Byron Jarrett.
Florida ball.
So it'll be Florida basketball. Let's send it back to Kevin Connors. Yeah, look forward to that. Thanks, Kev.
We said this earlier, John. One team average is 86, the other average is over 90.
Yeah.
But it's been what we call here in New Jersey a rock fight.
At the Rock.
At the Rock. Why not?
And everybody just enjoying the Bee Gees while we have a moment.
Justin Jennifer in for Broom for defensive purposes.
I think they're trying to figure out something substitution-wise. Yeah, I mean, Kulichov might have touched it, but I see where they're going with Clark. I believe that what Doug Shouse and Don Daly, though, are looking at is that as soon as that happened, Mick Cronin waved to subs to go get in, and I think there's some dispute over whether those guys are allowed to come into the game. So we'll wait and see whether Mick Cronin's choice in terms of subs to get into the game are in fact allowed or not. So right now, Mick Cronin meeting with his group, and we still wait to see what's going to end up happening. Franny?
Well, it is a dispute as to whether they had a legal player re-enter the game before there was a tick of the clock.
Okay.
And they're now trying to get that resolved. And it was 34. It was Cumberland.
So he is allowed.
He is back in the game.
There you go.
Well, Don Daly just told me that the wrong Cincinnati player went out, so they allowed him to come back into the game, which was Cumberland.
All right.
So Broom went out, Jennifer in.
Yep.
Cumberland thought he was out. He's back in. And there's that ISO again. You got to load up to that side. You cannot allow Chiozza to just play one-on-one over there. But you can't leave a shooter either. See this flare screen that's going to take place over here with Kulichov?
Chiozza spinning, almost lost the handle, and Stone.
New clock.
The dunk.
New clock.
Wouldn't go, and now you got to foul him, and they do. Wow. I mean, Stone just missed what would have been a spectacular punctuation mark.
Well, Michael White would have loved to have had the 2 points. Watch Stone, because they set up a screen for Kulichov for the jump shot, and Stone's man left, and that's why he was open. But what was fortuitous is getting that ball back.
Jalen Hudson with the fair catch and able to grab that. Chioza knocks down the first, and Chris, excellent 87% from the stripe.
Jalen Hudson, you think Dan Mullen was watching? New Florida football coach who we talked to a lot of Gators here. They seem excited about him coming back.
We chatted with the great voice of the Gators, Mick Hubert.
Yep. Big.
Timeout. And the Gators leading it 5-4. Florida coming off a rough week. 2 straight home losses out of conference, blasted on their home court by Florida State, and then the other night, Thursday night, losing at home to Loyola Chicago.
A good one.
And it's a good team.
It is. Yep.
They're one of the better teams in the Missouri Valley.
Absolutely. Porter Moser's done a good job there, but what's big about this for Florida now is going through adversity and coming out of it with a toughness win, which they're 20 seconds away from. Now, Cincinnati, no desperation shots here, okay? Try to get something driving to the rim where you can score, and if you get fouled, great, but if you score, cut it to 2. Cincinnati has the type of team built to press.
Yep.
They don't need a desperation shot right here.
Yeah, if you're Cincinnati, you need 2 baskets.
That's right.
Does not matter what order you get them in.
And Broom back for Jennifer, so he can make a play.
Taken away, flip up ahead, and that's going to do it. Chioza, the layup.
And that's why Broom's not at the starting point guard.
Chioza tracks it down, bullet pass up ahead. So Cincinnati and Mick Cronin, the turnovers were killers today. They turned it over at season high 21 times. Great win from Mike White and the game.